Hey, Chandra. So we're looking at an AWS organization with a couple of OUs in it, one of which has, I think, 200 accounts in it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
we're going to bring those accounts into pipes as connections. So how's that going to happen?
that's right. So yes, as you said, we're going to bring these two OUs and all the accounts inside them into pipes. And the way we're going to do that is using pipes integrations. And I'm going to quickly flip to the screen and start a new integration. As you can see, we have a bunch of pipes integrations now. And for this demo, we're going to use the AWS one. I'm going to click on next. This handle is just useful to identify the integration if you have multiple of them.
Okay.
And here you go. So we need to supply a some kind of a credential for us to be able to discover those OUs and accounts. So for this purpose, we are going to use access key. You could also use account role. I'm going to quickly copy paste some credentials here. All right, let's test this credential.
So we'll get a report on how many OUs and how many accounts were found shortly.
That's right. Yes. There we go. So it has discovered those two OUs and all the accounts within them. Now it has discovered them and it's going to import them. But in order to be able to query these, we need some kind of a role and a credential associated with it. And we have that set up for the demo, and we'll use that.
Okay.
And this is a read-only role,
That would make
and
sense.
we can test the connection as well. And there we go. We are authenticated. Now, we're going to import those two OUs and a bunch of accounts that are going to get created as connections. You get to choose which workspaces have access to those OUs and connections that get created. You could give access to all the workspaces or be very specific about which workspaces you want to, or also just give no permissions for now.
And if I chose no permissions, that's just because I'm going to decide later what to do.
Right. You probably don't have any workspaces yet, or you have workspaces, but you want to make that decision a little later. You can do
Sure.
that, and you can select no permissions. We'll go with all workspaces for this demo, and
Okay.
we just click on create integration.
Kicked
Start
off
it.
the sync.
Exactly. We just kicked out the sync. It's going to try and get all the connections, all the accounts and the OUs. It's going to take a bit of time. So it's going to replicate the same structure that you have. So OUs are going to become folders and the accounts are going to become connections. And we're going to retain the same folder structure that you have in your AWS console. And the other thing is it's going to keep them in sync. Now here, we've got the OUs represented as folders. And if I open one of them, you can see that all the connections, all the accounts have been created as connections. This is going to be in sync with your AWS organization. So any changes you make there is going to sync back on your pipes integration.
Nice.
Now, we've imported your OUs and accounts, and we now want to be able to query them. In order to do that, you head to your workspace, and if you go to the connections, you'll notice that those OUs, aka folders, are now visible on your workspace.
Okay. And hang on, I see a new thing here, add to schema. I don't think that was there before, right?
Right, that's true. While you do see these OUs and the connections within them, they are not yet queryable. They become queryable once you add them to the schema. So add to schema is something that you click on in order to add these connections to your workspace and then query them, right? We leave that decision to the workspace owners so that there's more granular control over which OUs you want to be queryable in which workspaces and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and add the scale testing to the schema. It's going to take a bit of time, and then it's added all of them. And as you can see, all of these are now added. The other interesting thing is that it's also created an automatic aggregator that aggregates all of those connections, AWS connections for you, so that it makes it easier for you to query all of them, but you can still query them independently.
Okay. So those are the 200 that were in the big OU, and then there could be another one for the small one.
Exactly, yeah. So we could try, for instance, querying one of them, and it gives me a result. And we could also try putting all of them together, and we have some results.
Let's think about what it would have involved to have done this manually by adding connections and aggregators.
Oh, yeah. I think it would have been really hard to do that manually. You would probably at best write a Terraform script to automate that for you. but it would still be hard, and you wouldn't get the benefit of being able to sync, keep your pipes integration and your Amazon organization in sync. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
solves it.
yeah. This is fantastic. People are going to love it. Thank you, Chandra.
Thanks a lot, John.
Thanks for watching. If your organization could benefit from Turbot pipes, get started today with a free developer account at turbot.com/pipes. See the video description for links and details.